Hello, Bitget fam. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to another live stream with Bitget. We want to welcome you wherever you're joining us from X, from Instagram, and of course, from YouTube. We have a massive giveaway for 300 BGB. All you got to do is go to YouTube, go to live stream, go down to the description. There's a Gleam link, follow some simple instructions, and be eligible to win. But I do want to get into today's topic. We are talking about the exciting upcoming Bitcoin halving. With us joining us today, we have an amazing, super famous guest, Miles. He is joining us from Dubai. Miles, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, exciting times with the market. Lots going on, lots to discuss. I'm taking this one from the Apple Store, so it's a unique backdrop for an interview. But let's do it.
Let's do it. Really appreciate you taking the time. So, of course, the Bitcoin halving is coming up, and I think it's set around April 20th. Since it's really top of mind for a lot of people, a lot of discussions around the topic, what do you think is kind of the market sentiment surrounding this upcoming event?
You know what's funny? I think the ETF flows have in some way overshadowed the halving. Like usually this would be pretty much the number one catalyst that kind of propels us into positive price action, but it hasn't been. It's kind of been a left-leaning cycle in the sense that we've got this extended run-up pre-halving. So I'd say actually the sentiment out there is really muted surrounding the halving. I guess that's also quite exciting because it's almost like an unspoken catalyst in the market right now. Typically we have seen these pre-halving drawdowns, something to take note of, but then again, sentiment's quite strong, price action still holding above that 68K level, which I think is really key to hold on the weekly right now because it's the prior all-time high range zone. So overall, I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Great. That's fantastic. So in your view, of course, I closely follow you personally. I see you putting a lot of great content. So you closely research the market. What are your thoughts on the possibility of Bitcoin hitting $100,000 this year and why?
$100,000 this year. I think it's definitely on the cards. I mean, you do kind of see this law of diminishing returns from cycle to cycle. So I think, we may not get that 5 to 10x in Bitcoin like we have in previous cycles. But in terms of, the 100K mark, I think it's inevitable that at some point Bitcoin hits 100K. Whether it's this year or next year really does depend on the macro backdrop. So that's something that I'm closely watching. Obviously, equities have had quite a strong run-up. Can they sustain? How do earnings go? How do interest rates fare across global markets? So I think at some point we'll see macro start to come back into the picture a little bit more. For now, I think people are enjoying this, positive ETF flow party, despite, a couple grayscale disturbances towards the back end of last week. But yeah, generally, I think 100K. I mean, I'm probably targeting it for this year, but I'll give the boring answer of saying who knows. I think, but I guess I'm more of an altcoin guy. So I don't really need for my portfolio and for my trading. I don't really need Bitcoin to hit 100K, 150K, 200K to actually make profits. Even in that chop between 60 and 70, I was able to identify certain narratives, like AI, like gaming, in order to take advantage of those conditions. So I'd be very interested to see how price responsive altcoins are to that environment.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned quite a lot of catalysts there. I wanted to kind of dive in a bit more there. Of course, there are a lot of narratives that might affect the crypto market this year besides the halving, say, for example, the SEC, you got the rate cuts, for example, the potential Ethereum ETF, and of course, Bitcoin ETF. What do you think is the most important and how do you think it will affect the market?
I mean, all I can look at is recent data, right? And by far, the most important data point has been ETF flows. So that's really what I'm tracking at the moment. I think today we actually did see a slight uptick in the flows after we ended last week, in the negative. So I think that's what the market is watching. That's what's been driving price action. So for me, I'm actually watching that more than, things like SEC, FUD, etc. Also really interested to see how the macro landscape pans out. We can't forget that Bitcoin operates within this broader liquidity cycle where you have a bunch of external factors, whether that be interest rates, market sentiment, driven from stock performance. So, we kind of sometimes get carried away in our crypto bubble, but we have to remember that Bitcoin's very responsive to global liquidity, M2. So we have to keep our eye on the monetary policy from, these major reserve banks, central banks, US, Japan, China, etc. So I think those two factors, the monetary landscape alongside the ETF flows, are probably the two things I'm watching most closely. Obviously, the halving super exciting. ETH ETF would be a very big event for altcoins, but yeah, I guess we'll have to see how that pans out. It's looking a little bit dubious, but we'll see what the SEC has up their sleeve regarding that one.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't agree more. I wanted to bring your attention back to kind of Bitcoin and this ecosystem. Of course, last year there was a lot of hype around BRC20 tokens, right? Like ordinals. I wanted to ask. I don't know how involved with BRCs you are, but how do you see the Bitcoin halving impacting the BRC20 token ecosystem?
How I mainly see it impacting the ecosystem is the halving. I mean, crypto basically revolves around attention. The halving is an attention narrative surrounding Bitcoin, and the BRC trade is pretty much a proxy to trade attention. So I don't think there's any like structural reason why the halving would affect the BRC20 ecosystem, but there definitely is a narrative reason why it may. I don't know if that means as soon as the halving happens, BRC20 tokens explode. That's very hard to gauge, but I do think that it's a relatively nascent yet exciting sector that it may not be my top one or two sectors in the space, but it's definitely on my list of sectors that I'm watching, positioned in across a variety of altcoins. But also accepting that because of its nascency, we don't really know what the front runners and the leading players are in that space compared to something like L2s, where there are very established chains like Arbitrum, well-funded chains like Linear, etc. So I guess really you just got to keep your eye out to find those like leading plays. Of course, we have a few like Audi. I'm a big fan of Stacks, who are like obviously leading in their respective niche. I actually really like Stacks this year because of the Nakamoto upgrade. So that's going to be an interesting development. So those are just a couple plays I'm looking at, but there are obviously some lower cap plays you can degen into if you want to take some like higher risk beta exposure to BRC.
Yeah, fantastic insights. Thank you for sharing. Like I said, I do follow you closely on Twitter, and you did recently post a long thread over there about your take profit strategy. Maybe you could share with our audience some of those insights and really how you plan on taking advantage of this bull run.
I really love the quote from GCR, which I also recently tweeted about. In the early stages of a bull run, you want to be positioning aggressively. And as the market kind of enters that final stage, you want to not only position yourself less aggressively, but you actually want to start unwinding your positions gradually. So I think taking profits, as you would have seen in that guide that I wrote, anyone that wants to check it out can go onto my highlights in Twitter, and I post all my major threads there, really was focusing around the whole concept of laddering into the market and laddering out of the market, as opposed to being rash with your decision making. So I definitely think when it comes to profit taking, it's always wise to look with a macro lens. I think a lot of people make decisions with a micro lens. So what's happening this week? Should I de-risk? Should I jump back in? Should I jump back out? The reality is the average person probably doesn't have much of an edge timing the market, and they're better off sticking with the market for a longer duration and utilizing greater macro ranges to either position themselves more aggressively or take profits. So that's what the thread really kind of encapsulates, but obviously it goes into more specifics about, some general percentages that you can use if you're a bit lost in terms of taking profits. But I do want to make this point. I think a lot of people, they all focus on when to buy. No one's talking about when to sell, but it's just as important as buying an altcoin is. Like equally as important is when you're actually going to sell that. And what you sell, not just when you sell, because if you're selling your winners and the winners keep running and you're buying losers, then you're essentially going to end up underperforming the market. So when you sell and what you sell is just as important as what you buy and when you buy.
Yeah, fantastic insights. Totally agree. You did mention you're a big altcoin guy, and so I wanted to ask, what crypto sectors are you most bullish looking forward to post-halving in that period? Do you have any particular projects that you're ultra bullish on that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so my real strategy in the market is about identifying strength. So what are the narratives that exhibit the most strength when we do get these market pumps, and what actually respond the best during market dips? And I think it's been clear so far this year that there are a few standout sectors. I think AI has exhibited some of the most strength. It hasn't just had one rotation like some of the other narratives. It continuously gets round 2, round 3, and round 4 as news starts to propel, from the mainstream media, and that trickles down into crypto. And obviously, it's an easy speculative vehicle to bet on on AI. So that's why AI is one of my top sectors. I think there'll be no slowdown in AI news this year. That's not necessarily dependent on Q2, Q3, but I think just generally being positioned there is a wise idea, at least with some percentage of your portfolio. I think layer ones are in a similar category. I think last cycle they were the top performers. This cycle we're already seeing for things like Aptos, Phantom, Sui. They're likely to be strong performers again. Of course, I can't forget about Solana, which has obviously been the leader. I don't know if longing a leader after a 10x move is a wise idea, but of course there are many more that are starting to exhibit signs of strength that are playing a bit of a catch-up game. So I'd say L1s as well. What else? I mean, crypto gaming is something I'm very bullish on, still pretty heavily positioned in. That's less of a strength play because it hasn't really shown strength. It's shown like periodic outperformance, but that's more of a look. If you're willing to just brave it out for the year, at some point we're going to get that massive pump. I don't know when it is, but any dip I'm accumulating gaming coins because I know it's coming. Kind of similar to, people like Becca, Elio, that's the kind of narrative that they drive. And honestly, I agree with it. You're not going to be able to time the gaming run maybe as effectively as something like AI, just because there's no real news-based catalyst that's very apparent right now. But what is apparent is that there's a lot of development there. There's a lot of new games launching, and at some point, we'll hit that AAA title that we're looking for. Whether that's Gunzilla in a couple months, there's a couple other cool ones that are coming up. Who knows? But yeah, that's another one. So those are probably my three. L1's AI gaming. I mean, there are more. If this was a 1 hour live stream, I could probably break them down. But then again, I think it's important for viewers. I mean, whether it's these three sectors or other sectors to condense their attention into specific niches instead of trying to spread too thin. I think portfolio concentration is just as important as diversification. So if you can pick one or two verticals you're super bullish on and become an expert on them, you're probably going to end up better off than trying to become an expert on 15, 16 sectors.
Fantastic. Yeah, those are amazing sectors, as you mentioned. Gives me a big boost of confidence for sure. So thank you. I wanted to bring your attention to memes because, of course, meme coins, a big part of crypto community. Do you mind sharing with us your views on the meme sector? Like, what are some of your favorite meme coins and kind of what's your overall strategy for trading them?
I mean, the thing with meme coins is it's like it just epitomizes why left curving the market is so effective. And like everyone that came into this cycle trying to outsmart it has actually underperformed anyone that bought Doge, Shiv, with Pepe and just chilled. So it's kind of funny. For me, even though I am a fundamental analyst, I love technical stuff and I really love researching about new technology, meeting projects, teams, finding out what's being built. I've also got to admit that all that stuff, although it's very interesting, sometimes ends up underperforming the stuff you would consider dumb. So one thing I've really tried to do this year is just kind of submit to this narrative of, okay, these left curve plays are probably going to outperform. And I took stupidly long positions on things like WIF earlier in the year. Didn't do as well as some, but did pretty well. And was building my Pepe position. And look, I'm not like a meme coin degen. I don't have the time to sit down and meme coin degen all day. I actually think that if you're going to master meme coins, you need to be focusing on that market almost full time. If you're going to be like that scalper that gets the new ones, because it is a freaking hard vertical to actually nail without losing money if you're stupid with your approach to it. But what my approach is, and this maybe works for people that don't have as much time to spend, is really just capitalizing more in the major memes of each ecosystem. I mean, recently Toshi on base has been a good one because I kind of noticed a rotation there. Obviously, yeah, in the early Solana days, WIF was a good one. So look, for me, I prefer to long these leaders because, okay, I might not get that 100x, but I can still hit the 10, 20x, go in with a slightly larger position size. But that's just me, right? If you do have the ability to find these upcoming ones, and I'm sure I could if I had all day, but I don't, then obviously you can make a lot of money there. So basically the TLDR is, and I do have guides on this, and I'm actually doing a video today, which is going to go into base meme coins a little bit more, because that's obviously something that's been performing really well and something I've been covering for the last week. But my TLDR is just don't fade it. Doesn't mean you have to become a meme coin DJ. It doesn't mean you need to spend all your time in meme coins. It just means don't fade. It just means if there's a meme coin opportunity, don't say, oh, it's just a meme, because those people often end up underperforming.
Yeah, absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. I've been in crypto for 6 years, and at this point, you got to respect the meme game. The community is so lively, and the stuff just pumps super hard, more so than most of these, fundamentally sound coins, right? So that's definitely one thing I have to
Just
very
treat
much
it like
stay
a
humble
gamble.
about as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
I
exactly.
think you just got to treat it like a gamble. Like, if this is what I say, like, if you go to a Las Vegas casino and you want to play blackjack, if you would put $1,000 maximum as a bankroll to play blackjack, but you're putting 10K into a meme coin, I think you've got to recalibrate things a little bit because it's the same concept. You're gambling on both of them. Difference being on meme coins, there are ways to get an edge. Castles in the air theory of trying to position as before others. Not always easy to know if you're actually before others or after others though. So for that reason, like my sizing is not dissimilar to what I would gamble with. Maybe it's a little bit more, admittedly, just because of liquidity in crypto and ease of use. But from a fundamental perspective, I think if people treated it like a gamble, they would do a lot better because they would actually take more risks. So they would expose themselves to more rewards, but their bankroll would be limited enough not to experience the crazy downside that you get if you over leverage yourself, into the meme coin ecosystem. That won't work for everyone, granted. And if you're a meme coin expert, maybe you can go in with crazy bankroll. But my general advice would be, treat it like a gamble, have fun, don't go too crazy. And hey, you may just surprise yourself. And if you don't, it's fine. You walk out of the casino happy because you enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, definitely. That is for sure the right mindset to have. So really appreciate you sharing. All right, Miles. Well, it's been a fantastic talk with you. I do have one more question, and then we won't keep you any longer. Do you have any trading tips for our crypto audience to watch out for in the pre-halving period? So in the next, say, 2-3 weeks, and also maybe the post-halving. Anything that comes to mind?
There's only really one trading tip in a bull market that you need, and it's having the conviction to actually buy these dips on the strong coins. And I mean, I know it sounds so simple, but you'd be surprised how many times these big shakeouts happen around the halving. People go into panic mode and they don't take advantage of what is often a very strong opportunity to accumulate some of the sectors that I've discussed here today. So my number one strategy in terms of trading would be create that watch list every time there's a dip, identify what performs the best coming out of that dip, keep adding it to your watch list. And when you do get another opportunity, either through setting limit orders on an exchange or through, manually having the conviction to pull the trigger, just take those opportunities. That's not saying go in on every dip because sometimes the dips will keep dipping and you don't want to catch a falling knife, but at least start averaging during these downturns. If you are bullish that we are higher from here, in 6-12 months time, like I am, because that's really the name of the game when you're in. I don't know exactly what phase. If it's a cycle of 5 phases, maybe we're in phase 2, maybe we're slightly more towards phase 3. Whatever it is, it doesn't feel like phase 5. I don't see that retail frenzy that typically exemplifies, in late phase 4, early phase 5. So for that reason, technically, it's still an accumulation period. You can still take profits in an accumulation period, by the way, if you've started accumulating earlier, and that's something I've been actively doing. But you're still trying to maximize exposure in the quality assets, and for that reason, I'm very hesitant to not take advantage of these major drawdowns. If we do get them like we have in previous cycles, we actually got one last week. That was a major drawdown. I don't think people realize because it was recovered quickly. We went from 73K to 60K in some exchanges, 59. On some alts, they went down 30-40%. Those are the type of dips where if you have limit orders on exchanges, you would instantly off the bounce be up 40-50% on a lot of strong alts. So just keep that in mind. Like, honestly, setting limit orders and just chilling like stink bids is like not a dumb strategy. It works for
Absolutely.
me. So I mean, I would recommend that for people, NFA of course, but yeah, I would recommend that for people that want that. I don't know,
For
that
sure.
at least want a chance to get into coins that they've missed. When the market's
Yeah,
pumping.
yeah. 100%. I do the same thing. So completely
And
agree
I'm
with
not
you
just
there.
saying that because I'm on a Bitget stream. By the way, I do this across a variety of exchanges. Always spread out your centralized exchange risk. And I do it on dexes. A lot of amazing dexes have limit orders. But it's a strategy I think people should implement nonetheless. And of course, I do trade on Bitget. People know that from my channel. And that's one exchange where, you can do it as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time. Miles, it's been fantastic. We hope to have a chance to do a deep dive with you again coming up. With that being said, please go and follow Miles on X and YouTube. He's got a great content. I'll personally vouch for that. And Miles, thank you once again.
Thanks, bro. I'm in the Apple store. I'm
Amazing.
literally I'm about to buy a new MacBook so I can actually edit these shows without Final Cut crashing every 5 seconds. So I'll see you.
There you go.
See you next time, guys. See you later. Bye bye.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Talk to you later. All right, guys. Well, thanks again to Miles. What fantastic insights. I know I definitely had a lot to take away. Guys, please don't forget, we are giving away 300 BGB. All you got to do is go down to the description if you're on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, go ahead and hop over to YouTube, and you'll be eligible if you follow those simple instructions. Okay, so without further ado, we do have one last thing prepared for you, and that is the quiz. All right. So the first round of the quiz, let's go. The first question is going to be, how many Bitcoin halvings have there been so far? What do you guys think is the answer here? Do you guys think it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? Go ahead in the quiz, or excuse me, in the chat box on YouTube. Go ahead and input your answer. I see a couple of answers now. Come on, guys. Let's keep rolling them in so you're eligible to win some BGB. The BGB is worth a lot of money now. We've pumped quite a lot, so be sure to be eligible so you can take advantage of that. All right, guys. I see some more answers rolling in. Come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, all right. I see it. I see it. All right, guys. We're gonna go for it. So the answer, of course, is D. It is 4. Oh, excuse me. It is C. My bad. It's 3. Excuse me. So I see some people getting it right. Amazing. Let's hop on over to question 2. Okay, what does NFT stand for? Is it no fun token, newly found token, non-forgettable token, or is it non-fungible token? What do you guys think? I see some answers. All right, it should be pretty straightforward. I'm sure you guys seen this in the news. All right, keep it rolling, keep it rolling. All right, guys, the answer, of course, is, this one is D. It's non-fungible token. All right. Okay, question number 3. Which of these meme coins features a dog wearing a hat? Is it A, BOME, or is it B, Slurf, or is it C, WIF, or is it D, MEW? What do you guys think? Let us know in the chat room. Come on, guys. Keep it rolling. We love the engagement. We love the answers. This thing really mooned the last month. It's been all the talk. So, of course, it is WIF. Dog WIF hat. All right. Okay. Next question. Question number 4. Approximately how many years apart do Bitcoin halvings take place? Is it 1 year, 2 year, 4 years, or 5 years? What do you guys think? All right, see some answers rolling in. Come on, keep it going. All right, well, you guys are all correct. So you do know this one. It is 4 years, 4-year cycles, okay? Question number 5, let's go. Last one here. What is the current block reward for Bitcoin miners? The current one. What do you guys think? Is it 50 or is it 25, 12.5, or is it 6.25? What do you guys think for question number 5? I still see a bunch of answers. Let's go, guys. Let's go, guys. What do you guys think? All right. So if we have had 3 halvings, and every time the supply is cut in half, what do you guys think would be? If you know where we're starting from, then you know the answer to this one. All right. Well, we're gonna go for it. The answer is D, 6.25. All right. Congrats to everybody who participated. Please remember to fill in the Gleam form so you're eligible to win. As long as you're answering your question in the chat room and you complete those tasks, you will be eligible to win. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching here. You know, it was such a blast. Today we're talking about the Bitcoin halving. Of course, I hope everybody had a great time. You know, watching me and Miles. Miles really had some fantastic insights. I know I learned a lot. So yeah, with that being said, please be sure to follow all of our socials, as you can see down here. All right, down here, you can see all the socials, whatever platform you enjoy using, be sure to go follow us. We always bring you amazing crypto insights on the daily, okay? But that is it from us today. We will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.